Warning, the following contains material that may be too disturbing to some people. Descriptions of violence, mature situations, and adult themes. This is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I leapt headfirst into the black, searching for answers. I found only more questions. My memories fade with each step. I feel a weight. It's so heavy. I find nothing. Here in darkness, I awaken for the first time. My skin is on fire. My lungs ache for air. My body's too weak to stand. To fight back. The pain pierces every thought. Death would be a kindness that I do not deserve. Let me die broken. All right. We are here. Let's see. How you guys doing?
Did you guys know that it is illegal in Las Vegas to run more than 99 sheep down Main Street?
Wait, it's illegal to what?
To herd more than 99 sheep down the main street of Las Vegas. It's a real law.
It's one of those like it's like illegal to spit it on a sidewalk on Wednesday laws, you know, or something like that. Yeah.
In Florida, it's illegal to feed alligators marshmallows.
I love how that's how we're starting things.
In Arkansas, there's a bridge that connects Little Rock, our capital, to North Little Rock. And it's a huge bridge. It's one of the biggest ones in Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's illegal for the river to go higher than the bridge.
What are they going to do? Find the river?
I know, right?
That's it, Poseidon. Get this water level down.
I don't
said you will find.
Yeah, I don't know if he can pay that to the city. Poseidon, he can give you plenty of water though. But
you know how much treasure
fines.
is lost in the ocean?
I guess that's fair. Yeah, that's a fair statement. It's true.
You can pay fines like it's nobody's business.
All right.
That if you do something he doesn't like, he can just drown you.
Yeah. Well, we are here. We are live. Welcome to Broken, episode 1. I hope you guys enjoyed the intros. We got everybody here. So, let's talk a little bit. We had a practice session, folks. Couple things to go through here. So the practice session, we started playing it. I was like, it's not going to be canon. Don't worry. We're just going to do whatever. And then by the end of it, I was like, okay, it's canon. So we're going to run you guys through that here in just a second. First thing is, we are doing a giveaway. So Arcana Media and writer and creator of the game, Nibiru, they decided to kind of like sponsor a giveaway for us. So all you got to do to enter the giveaway is type the word broken in the Twitch chat. Make sure you're following the channel. Only do it one time, because if you do it more than once, the auto flag thing will make you ineligible to win. So anyone is welcome to enter this. Players are welcome to enter. Mods are welcome to enter. You won't get extra luck, but you guys are all taking part in this, so I feel like you guys should be able to enter the giveaway too. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 episodes of like, make sure we shout it out each time. Try to do it like beginning, middle, end of episode to give everyone time to enter. And then what we'll start doing is on episode 4, we'll give away a copy. On episode 5, we'll give away a copy. And on episode 6, we'll give away a copy. And yeah, get this game in the hands of more people. It's a fantastic game. I think you guys are gonna like it. And Fed said that we could send out physical copies. So if you win, I'll DM you. And basically I'll say, hey, what's your shipping address and email address so we can get you a copy of this game. I'll kick that over to the creators and they'll mail it out to you. All right. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what happened in that little practice session we had. So here's how our show would start. We would fade in to the sound of like static and someone like someone speeding through the dial on a radio. We would see this scene from our practice session play out without sound. We wouldn't hear what anyone's saying, so we would just get flashes of starting with an older hobo-looking man on the side of the street, ripping on a bass guitar with the case out and open for change. A bald man in a suit, a black suit, walks up to him. He's wearing glasses, and he chats with him kind of mysteriously before handing him a wad of cash and pointing at the nearby casino. The camera pans over and we see the name of the casino as the Second Chance. We fade in to him sitting at a table. We see a casino worker finish fixing a machine, and she comes over and sits down. We see another woman watching from across the room, a woman with dark brown hair, sort of eyeing the group suspiciously. Another well-dressed man enters from the elevator and ends up sitting at the table. Once he gets a look at the hobo's stack of chips. And of course, another gambler sits down, his eyes wide, looking for a big score. They sit there and play chips for a while. We see hands being taken and lost for a few minutes before the brown-haired woman comes over and sits down with them. And they're all sitting there, and they notice the bald man that our hobo friend was talking to outside is standing across the lobby watching them. The dealer gets more and more anxious. And as the brown-haired woman starts to pull up people away from the table, looking kind of alarmed, everyone else kind of looking confused, perhaps, the man in the suit walks up to the table and fires 3 rounds into the dealer's chest. The dealer falls to the ground. The bald man walks up closer to him and empties the rest of his magazine into his body. That's where that sequence ends. The static we hear on the radio fades into a radio ad as we get a shot of the city from above, like a drone footage shot. It is early morning. We're talking first light. The sun is just coming up over the horizon. And we hear our radio fade in. You know what these jokers are saying to us on the radio?
Hey, Brett, why don't you, play some of that new stuff?
Oh, you mean like this? How about you go back to where you came from? This is KTLV, and we want to rock. All right, you guys are listening to KTLV in the mornings. So, it's going to be a weird one in Vegas today. We've got a bunch of people flocking to the city for that new unscheduled solar eclipse. Wonder why that didn't show up on NASA's radar, huh? Seems kind of odd, right? Of course, all the whack jobs are going around saying, oh, it's Planet X, it's Nibiru, or what have you. I don't know if I buy that. What do you guys think? All right. It says, looks like new casinos putting out some specials on the strip today. Head over to Second Chance. We'll talk about that more later on the show. The Second Chance Casino is doing some crazy deals in town right now. And do you guys remember that crazy redhead from the news a while back? The one who they said they seemed like they were sure she had killed some kids. Well, looks like she was released a few weeks ago, and that's making its way back around in the news. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in town right now. But before we get to the show here in just about 15 minutes, we've got a new song from a local folk rock artist by the name of Levi Shepherd. The song is called Only Memories Remain. Check it out here on KTLV. All right, so first thing I want you guys to do, somebody roll me a d5 to see who we start with. I can go ahead and tell you like what the numbers are going to be. 1 is Dank, 2 is Zack, 3 is Cassidy, 4 is... Oh, interesting. Okay, all right, Naela. All right.
God.
So the camera and sort of fades out from the city. There's like this glitch that sort of happens on the screen where the image is sort of like spliced at an odd angle and sort of falls off of itself. We cut to the woman we saw at the table with the brown hair who was like pulling everyone away from the table. Is in some kind of like glass tank, submerged in water. She has what looks like to be some kind of mask on her face, and she's sort of just drifting there in the water with her eyes closed. As we fade in, she opens her eyes, and we see her like come to consciousness, move around slightly. She bobs in the water as she wakes up. We see her reach up and open the top of this tank and start to climb out as the camera moves from tank level to above the level that she's climbing into. The room we see is sort of a very modern styled room. Neutral colors for the most part. The walls probably are a dark gray, just like the floors. It's kind of hard to tell the color of them because there's this strange blue light that's coming from above. It's dim, but it's blue. It's almost like a black light kind of atmospherically, and it's a very cramped room. There's only like one small seating area where there's like it looks like a bundle of blankets, and then a few feet away from that, there's like a cabinet and storage area. She climbs up out of the tank, and dresses herself, and then we see her walk into the adjacent room, and there's an old man sitting at a table. Let's see here. We'll do this scene here, I think. Naela. So, second here. Here we go. The old man is he's wearing what appears to be almost like a polyester looking like a thermal. It's dirty. It's very dirty. So is he. His skin's fairly dirty as well. His beard is unkempt, and he looks concerned. He's short in stature, shorter than the average man, probably somewhere between 4'5" and 5'2" at most. He's also very fit, athletically fit. His muscle looks dense, as does Naela's, who's also short. Naela, how tall are you?
She's probably somewhere around 4'2" or a little bit less than that.
Okay. And do you want to describe what you look like or what you're wearing?
So pretty much she has the dark hair. She looks like she typically wears the facial expression of "don't mess with me." She looks more fit and dense than she probably should for a female. And as stated, she is extremely short. The type of things that she usually wears is something along the lines of like active wear type deals, to where she's able to efficiently stretch and things like that when needed.
All right. And like, are you clean? Is there like dirt smudged on your face or anything like that?
There's probably little dirt smudges around on her face, so she can kind of fit in with her surroundings.
Okay. So we see you like enter this room where the old man is sitting, kind of out of view from this water tank that you just crawled out of. The old man is just sort of sitting there staring at you with his eyebrows raised. And he says, Olivia, why don't you have a seat? We should have a talk.
She will take a seat with him.
Yeah, the room is very dim and dark except for this blue light that's coming from the ceiling. When we do see it, like in some of the camera angles, it's slightly out of focus, so we can't really tell exactly what it is. And you sit down, and the old man takes a long look at you, and he says, "We're starting to get low on supplies. I don't know how much longer our resources are going to last."
I will go out and do what I can.
He shakes his head. He says, It seems there's less and less with each passing cycle. Before long, there's not going to be much left. We should start thinking about heading to another settlement. It's what your mother would have wanted.
Where you go, I go.
He stands up, and he sort of like looks around for a moment, like he's kind of confused, before he like hobbles across the room. We hear his like bare feet on the floor. Kind of sounds like skin on tile. He bends down, he opens a cabinet up, and he says, "There was one more thing. Have you seen what I did with my medicine? I seem to have misplaced some of it." And he kind of puts like a palm to the top of his head and kind of like almost like hits himself, but not like painfully hard. And he says, "My mind's getting the better of me these days." And Naela, will you make a roll for me? Just a normal roll. Okay. Let's see here. So you get the oh. Okay, here we go. We get the trademark blue lens flare for the show when there's like a flashback or like a change in scene. And we see you, Naela, in the same room. Maybe your clothing's slightly different, just to illustrate this is a different day. We see you opening your eyes and looking around with this look of dread on your face. You sit up and you walk over to the same cabinet that we just saw him open up. Inside, we see a hodgepodge of different medicines. None of them are really labeled. They're all in sort of like small dark containers. They're just like barely see-through. We see you grab one of them and pull it out and kind of hold it up to the faint light. And the camera zooms in. We see like a grayish, whitish substance on the inside. You look satisfied with what you see. And we see you sort of like pull it over to the counter. You pour it out, crush some of it, and like she pulls out this device. It's like a heating element, and holds like a piece of metal over this heating element and pours the substance on it. And as it heats up and starts to melt down, we see her take out let loose a deep breath before she takes out another device that looks kind of like a needle, like a syringe, and she pours the substance in and ties her arm off and injects it into her arm. Do you want to describe the rest of that scene, Naela?
So once the substance is inside of her arm, it takes a few minutes to take effect. But once it kicks in, she starts to see other people. She's not sure exactly who these people are, but they are others different from herself and Ernest, who she has been staying with for quite some time. Naela typically has long conversations with these people, and it makes her feel at peace seeing the visions of these certain people.
Okay. Yeah, and we get the flashback as we fade back into the current scene where he's sort of standing there at the cabinet, kind of confused. And he says, he kind of pauses for a moment, and he looks over at you and he says, "Where's Martha? Have you seen her?" He kind of looks around. There's nobody else in the room.
I haven't seen her.
He kind of like furrows his brow. And he says, "Huh. Do you remember?" And he shakes his head. What was I saying? It's just an awkward silence.
Just kind of staring at him like, oh no, did I accidentally take his pets? You were talking about finding a new settlement.
Yeah, he nods like, oh right. And he says, you see, when Martha and I first brought you home, Olivia, this place, well, there was just more forest here. But as time goes on, it seems like there's just less and less. Maybe that's where the scene ends. For now, we can come back to it. We flash over to another person. Somebody roll me a D4. Cassidy. All right, Cassidy. Let's see here. We fade in to the inside of a home, a bedroom. And let's see. Here we go. There we go. Cassidy, what does your room look like?
Very cluttered. Mechanical parts, bits, pieces, bolts, nuts, stuff to repair just everywhere. There's a desk with whatever she was working on the night before she probably passed out right at the desk.
Okay. So as we fade into your room, we're hearing the end of that radio broadcast. We see that sort of dream sequence play out in fast motion again one more time as you wake to a start, just waking up from this dream. I would like for you to make a stress check against 3 dice. This is for violence. So if you have anything that gives you a bonus to violence, it'll apply here. I'm going to roll 3 dice. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good roll.
And I do contested, right?
Yeah. Ooh, awesome.
Ooh.
Cool. So yeah, the dream, while extremely realistic, it doesn't phase you mentally, as you snap to awake at your desk. What do you do?
She's gonna look around, try to get her bearings. Looks at what she was building before getting up to get a drink in the kitchen.
Do we get a like a look at what you were building?
I would say probably like a miniature animatronic type thing. It's probably just the body right now, no casing, no nothing.
Okay. So like a small animatronic kind of dealio on the desk. All right. So you get up, you head to the kitchen to get something to drink. Yeah, you walk into the kitchen and you hear the radio in your room cut on. It's the sound of static. It seems like it's like cycling through stations.
She's going to look at it and then like tap it on the counter a little bit so she can get it to fix itself.
Okay. Make a normal roll. Awesome. Okay. Roll me a d4. Awesome. Okay. So you're hitting this thing on the counter, like you're just trying to do like a Fonzie. You're trying to make it start working correctly. When you like
Right.
you like whack it, and then the static kind of shifts to like this high pitched noise. You see, like make this face, and you hit it again, and there's this really high pitched kind of like sound that sort of it echoes through your every fiber of your being. It's like the mosquito ringtone. Do you guys know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That really high pitched, like. And as this happens, we see like the blue lens flares. You get like this strange sort of memory that finds its way to the surface in your mind. You see, first thing that strikes you is the noise. You hear sort of the muffled sound of like a crowd of people like cheering. There's people kind of like sounding like it's almost like a sports game. Like there's just been a touchdown and people are like yelling about the sport, like, yeah, they're cheering for their team and stuff, but it's kind of muffled and in the background. The strangest thing about your dream or this memory is you look down at yourself and you see metal plating. And there's like a crane attached to you. And you can feel it on your back and you're being lowered into this like caged circular room. The floor is just like glossed, polished metal. And you look down at each of your hands, and instead you see these long, sort of mechanical arms with weapons on the end of them. So maybe one hand has like a puncturing device, like a long knife or spear. The other seems to have some sort of projectile weapon, like a gun, like a machine gun or something like that. When you're lowered into this area, you look across from you, and the first thing you see is another creature that looks like you, some kind of big machine. And let's see if I can show you kind of what it looks like. Yeah, something like this. And so you're looking at this machine across from you here. Okay. And it's the gun on its arm starts to spin up as you hear this whirring sound that gets kind of faster and faster. Your first instinct is not to fight. So we sort of see you from a first person perspective turn and run. And that's where the memory ends. We get the flash again, and you're standing in your kitchen holding this radio. I need you to make a stress test, please. This is against the unknown, and it's gonna be a little bit harder. Oh, Wow, I rolled all 4s. Holy cow.
Oh no.
You took all my crits.
That's 5d4s. That's like a super crit. Okay, so I definitely doubled your score. So you're gonna go down 2 mind steps. So it should go from okay. The first one is shaken, then stressed. I think, or is it stressed and then shaken?
Stressed and shaken.
Stressed and then shaken. So you go down to shaken. Now this does have a permanent effect on you while you're shaken. I think it gives you a -1 to all mental related checks. How do we see that you are shaken by this sort of memory?
She lets go of the radio and she just kind of like hunkers down and curls in on herself, kind of rubbing at her temples, trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah, imagine so, right?
Yeah, she's just trying to make herself as small as possible, less likely to be seen, less likely to be noticed.
Okay. How long do you sit like that?
Oof. Probably a good 10-15 minutes just trying to process what the hell just happened.
Okay. As you're sitting there, make a normal roll, please.
Today is not her day.
Mm-hmm. So, while you're sitting there, sort of hurtled together on the floor, we hear the sound of screams. You hear them echoing in your mind. You don't relive the memory, but you can hear the sound of children screaming. And it just like you can't get away from it. It's like a PTSD thing where you're just like reliving the event over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like covering your ears, you're trying to get it to stop, but it won't stop. I'm going to give you a stress test here. This is for violence. Okay. You go down another mind step. Does that put you to broken?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at what happens. Let me find it in the book here. I didn't think it would happen this quick, to be honest with you.
I did.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't panic.
You're doing great.
Okay. Okay. So, becoming broken. The namesake of the show. So, you are going to develop a symptom which starts at 1 and goes up if you gain the symptom again. To determine the symptom, we're going to have you make a special roll with 2 dice. It's a 4, so 2, 3, 4. Congratulations. Your symptom is paranoia. So you're going to write that in the on your journal sheet in the revelation page at the bottom, the revelation part. So it's going to take up your first revelation slot. This symptom is linked to a subject or object defined by the narrator, should relate to the causes of the broken state. Whenever in the presence of this subject, the player gets a -1 penalty to all dice rolls. Penalty becomes 1 die harsher for every increment in intensity. I think the the subject of this might be children. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So you develop paranoia as you're sort of huddled there on your floor, kind of freaking out. Do you ever stop, or are you just gonna sit here? Are you gonna try to pull yourself out of it? What do you do?
After a while, she would try to pull herself together. Because she knows, stuff has to get done. She's got job orders for the day. She needs to get out and do things.
Yeah, you're supposed to be at work today. All right.
Yeah.
Make a roll with the -1 as you try to pull yourself together. This would be a normal roll, but with -1. Success. Okay. You managed to do it. Like, you managed to shake it off for now. Like, there's something there that's under the surface bothering you, but you're able to put it at the back of your mind. And, you got work to do, right? So you managed to get yourself together just enough. So what's the
After
next
that,
step?
she'd get her drink it real quick, and then head down the stairs out.
Okay. Yeah, we see you head out. As you go down the stairs, maybe we see you get in the maybe we see you hop in the elevator for a bit. So you like sitting there waiting, and you get to the bottom of the stairs, and at the bottom, if I can find it. Maybe I cannot. At the bottom of the stairs, there's your building super. And so I don't have it ready, I guess. I don't know why it's not working. But there's like an older lady who's standing there smoking a cigarette behind a desk. The desk is sort of like closed off with like bulletproof glass or whatever, but there's like a speaker in the center of the glass. And she's just standing in there smoking a cigarette. When you come around the corner, she puts it out really quickly, and she just gives you like a, "Oh, hey, honey, how you doing? You heading to work?"
Yeah, those will kill you, right?
She shrugs. A lot of things will kill you.
Ain't that the truth?
She goes, "Probably just be doing me a favor anyway." Well, anyways, sweetheart, have a great day.
You too. You gonna go watch the new eclipse?
Oh, I thought about it. Do you think it's worth watching? There's a lot of weirdness going on with that.
Hey, how often does the space?
All
center
right,
screw
ramblers,
up?
let's
Could
get
be
rambling.
interesting.
Sorry, there was a stream noise that cut you off. What was the last part?
I went. How often does the space center screw up? It could be interesting.
She nods. She says, "I was flipping through that YouTubes the other day, and I saw this guy on there. He's talking about it. He said it's like interdimensional aliens or something causing this."
She's gonna roll her eyes. You really believe in that?
Well, no, of course not. It was funny. You gotta admit that. Aliens are real. You really think they'd be going all the way to this dump just to put some things up a hillbilly's butt? And she goes, anyways, just don't tell the manager I was smoking in here, okay?
Me? Rat on somebody?
She smiles.
She's gonna give her a wink before she heads out.
All right. Yeah, you head out the door, and we see like on street level. Do you have a car, or
Mm-mm.
do you like walk to work? Like, are you close enough?
She either walks or does public transport.
Okay. Um, Either or is fine. What are you in the mood for today?
Mm, Depending on how close it is, she'd probably walk.
Okay. So yeah, we see you like walking down the street towards the Second Chance Casino. There's a bunch of people out today. There's a lot of tourists in town that are wanting to like see the eclipse. So there's a bunch of people like picking out spots to watch from. There's a lot of people like on their balconies as you exit the apartment building. There are people like setting up chairs and stuff to watch it from there. Um, as you're walking through the crowd, um, you start to hear like a sound. Make a normal roll with a -1, please. Ooh, savvy success. All right. So this time you don't get any negative effects from it, but the sound you hear is those same screams starting to come back. Do you want to narrate your second memory on your sheet, or should I do that for you?
Um, it's in a garage like area. Again, there's robotics and everything around, but the visuals are kind of blurred. And then you just hear this small, high pitched, blood curdling scream. There's the smell of blood in the air, that horrible, nasty irony scent. And whatever she's holding down, she can feel small hands clawing at her arms, trying to get away. And all she can remember after that, all she can really remember is just praying for it to be over. She's not sure if she's also hoping for forgiveness or peace. Kind of wondering if it would really even matter with what she's doing.
Mm-hmm. And as the memory kind of comes to an end and like sort of fades to black, um, you see in that black like strings of it's almost like code, but it's strange symbols that you don't recognize, just sort of like flashing across like in front of your eyes, the screen for the audience. And as you're sort of like lost in this memory for a moment, a man bumps into you on the street. He doesn't say anything. He just stops as you like come to. You were like, lost in thought, and you look up and you see this man kind of looking down at you. Let me see if I can show you what he looks like. Oh, come on. I know I programmed this one. I have to just do it again. Let's see. Here. What? I don't know why you know work correctly, but we will just have to do it like this for now. I'll figure it out later. So you recognize this man from your dream last night. As you look up at him, and he's making this face at you, right? Like it's early morning, but he's just staring at you. And yeah, you look up at him, and he says, "Excuse you."
He's
Does it,
gonna look at him
does it weird you out that you recognize him from your dream?
a little bit.
All right. Make a stress
Have
test.
we?
This one is against the unknown. Oh, yeah, that's not a good roll. Okay. Now you're still broken, right? So you're gonna get another. You're gonna get another symptom here. Roll me a special roll. 2d4. 5. 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Depression. This symptom prevents you from writing positive memories related to either social, mental, or physical action types. You choose which of these categories are affected. Do you want it to be social, mental, or physical action types?
Social.
Okay. So next to where you wrote paranoia, write depression, -1 social. As you sort of relive this dream that you had, the same dream that you woke up to, maybe seeing this guy's face makes it feel all the more real. And he just sort of stares at you with this blank expression on his face. And he says, you're getting quite close there, Cassie.
She's gonna narrow her eyes out. Do we know each other?
He just sort of stares at you and he says, I think so. You remember the casino, don't you?
Which one? There's like 100 in this city.
He sort of like cocks his head to the side and he like furrows his brow and he says, I'm sorry, I don't really get humor. The casino, the one where I shot the man dealing you the cards.
She's giving this look like she thinks he's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a roll for him here. Let's see. That is a fail. All right. He says, perhaps I was mistaken then. Maybe you're still further than I thought. And then he sort of like looks around and then he shrugs his shoulders and he says, well, you and Zack have a nice day. It's supposed to be a great eclipse. And he starts to walk off.
She's going to watch him before checking the time before heading towards the casino. She's probably cutting it pretty close.
You're gonna keep watching him. So he walks to the edge of the block, and he turns around. His posture is odd, like he's very rigid, and he gets to like the edge of the street corner, and he turns around and he stares at you. I need you to make a stress check against the unknown. This is gonna be really intense, actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll first. And then I'll describe it once you make your roll.
Oh shit.
He rolled a couple ones. Okay. All right. So he turns and looks at you. and you're staring at this guy. And then he reaches up and he pulls off his glasses. And as he does, you see his eyes are pure black. They're darker than dark. They're like a void that pulls in all the light around them. These dark tears start to stream down his face like black ink, and they drip off the edges of his chin and sort of turn into this black smoke that sort of whiffs through the air. The people around him don't react to this. There's people walking by on the street. Nobody really seems to notice this. But you do. Make a special roll with two dice, please. 5. That is 2, 3, 4, 5. Depression again. Which of these categories would you like to be affected? You already chose social, mental, or physical.
Mental.
Mental. All right, so add a -1 to mental rolls at that part of your sheet. And, ooh. Do you have anything sharp on you, Cassie?
She probably does have like Phillips heads and stuff in her pocket, so yeah, she definitely has access to stuff.
So we see you reach a hand in your pocket because this is your 3rd symptom. So you've now officially reached gone status. Congratulations. We see you reach in your pocket and pull out this screwdriver as you're staring at this guy. You almost don't even realize you're doing it. We see you like holding this screwdriver in your hand. We get the shot of like your hand shaking. And we hear this guy who's walking by you go, "Hey, isn't that the lady from the news with the kids?" And then you shove the screwdriver in your neck. Blood starts going everywhere. There's like a sound coming from you as the color starts to leave your body. There's blood spraying all over the sidewalk. The people around you do react to this, as like there's a couple people that sort of scream and back away. One man's like, "Quick, get her some help!" And you fall down on the sidewalk. You're staring up at the sky. We, the audience, we see the man put his glasses back on. He kind of grins, and then he walks away.
I use an influence point to make him trip as he walks away.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So he like starts to walk away, and then there's like a hitch in the sidewalk where it's like not laid properly, so one's higher than the other, and he hits it with one of his feet. And he stumbles a few feet, and then he kind of stops and he straightens himself up. He gets the wrinkles out of his suit, and he like looks around like nobody saw that, right? And then he just keeps walking. Yeah. That is the end of your scene for now. It's okay. She's got another character rolled and ready to go, so it's all good, guys. Okay. Let me get some of this stuff fixed here. Goodbye, Cassie. Naela, you can go back there. All right. Somebody roll me a D3. All right. Dank. Dank, did you pick out a color for the couch?
It is a deep navy blue.
Was that one of the ones that I had?
No, but the one you had was like a velour looking one, kind of like a mix between velour and corduroy. Honestly, that old couch that everybody's grandma had in the 80s.
The one with the white wall behind it?
Yes.
Okay. We'll use that picture, but it's for canon. It's you said navy blue?
That's right.
Okay. All right. So we fade in We get the repeat of the radio broadcast from the morning, and we fade into a man asleep on a couch. The same homeless man we saw playing the guitar on the side of the street in our little dream sequence. Let's see here. Let me bring you guys over to this page. So the couch is kind of like, maybe it's like tucked back in a little alleyway. It gives you kind of some cover from the street. But we can still like hear the sounds like people walking by, sort of close by, and maybe a little bit of traffic. So you're like laying there asleep on this couch, having this dream, the same dream that we saw Cassie having. We see a man walk up to you as you're sort of sitting there. And we see him kind of like look down at you while you're asleep, and he makes this face like he smells something bad.
Well, I am right next to a dumpster, so.
yeah, and he kind of like leans down. And he lifts his foot up and puts it on the end of the couch and presses on it, kind of shaking it. To sort of like wake you. And we hear him say, "Don't you ever get tired of living like this?"
What are you talking about? I'm more free than anyone else in this city. You're lucky those shoes are clean, otherwise I'd tan your hide.
Yeah, he shakes his head. He looks around. He says, "You're just as much of a slave as anyone else here."
I mean, that's what happens when you live in a capitalistic society that's in third stage capitalism. What can you do?
He says, "Capitalism is an illusion." Oh, Dank, I do need to have you make a stress check against violence, but I'm going to give you a +2 on this one because of what we talked about.
All right.
There's that.
So is it just a standard roll with +2?
Be contested +2.
All right.
This is for the dream. Yeah. Okay, so you're fine. Yeah, he says like, I think what I said was capitalism is an illusion.
Yeah. Everything's an illusion if you look close enough.
Yeah, he nods and he says, "Now you're getting it. See, this is why I picked you."
All right. So what's the word, Chief?
The word, like, he makes an expression, but it's kind of hard to read. Make a normal roll, see if you can pick up on it. Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't seem to understand what you just said. He goes, "The word," and there's like the hint of a question.
Man, you must have been out of it for a long time if you ain't familiar with the hips and happenings nowadays. Well, what's going on? What can you tell me?
He says, "Well, do you remember the man dealing the cards being shot?"
Yeah, you dumped the whole clip into him.
He nods. He says, "Good." And then he sort of looks more intently at you, and he says, "Doesn't seem to have phased you much."
Oh, you know the things I've seen. That's nothing.
Yeah, he nods. He says, "It's one of the burdens of being a soldier. Seeing things you can't unsee."
Doing things you can't undo.
Yeah, he nods again. He says, "See, this is why I like you, Dank. We're more alike than you realize."
When you really boil it down, people are people.
Yeah, and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls like a piece of paper. It's like a business card, basically. And he says, "You see, that's why I just knew you'd be a good addition to the team."
Well, I've been on many teams, and I do work pretty well with others.
Yeah, and he hands you the card. I'm gonna show you what their logo is in the Discord. So you look at this card, but the audience doesn't get to see what's on it. Let me do this. And here, I'm just gonna DM it to you. Looks something like this. And at the bottom, you just see the words, the Covenant.
Nice and bossing, not bad. Which must have cost a pretty penny.
He kind of furrows his brow and he says, "No, it didn't cost us anything."
Well, I mean, if you've got your own manufacturing, it's understood.
He says, "You're having a hard time wrapping your mind around this, I sense."
It honestly feels like the other way around. I'm saying a lot of things, and you're questioning a lot of things, and you're not getting what I'm saying. It seems like that's all right. Maybe English isn't your first language. No problems. I've worked with many different countries.
Yeah, he says, "You have a strange demeanor about you. I must confess, I don't really understand humor. Where I come
German.
from..." You say German?
Yeah.
Yeah, he cocks his head to the side and he says, "No. The place I come from doesn't have this thing you call humor. But I think it's..." He goes, "I think it's starting to grow on me. Especially these things you call memes."
Oh yeah. You know what? If you really look at it, it's a really effective coping mechanism for all kinds of things. Humor.
Yeah. He nods and he like reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a cell phone and he pulls it up and he shows you one. It's like, "See, I find this one quite funny." And it's like a video meme and he hits the play button.
The thing goes grrrr.
That's basically what you get.
Hank definitely laughs along with him.
He doesn't smile or laugh or anything. He just kind of stares blankly at it and shows it to you.
That's a good one, yeah. Classic.
He goes, "Yes, it's hilarious."
You'll get the hang of humor. It grows on everybody over time.
Yeah, he kind of like shakes his head and puts the phone back in his pocket and he says, "So, I've read your file, Dank. You've been involved in black projects, special ops. You even assassinated a very well-known terrorist." And when he says that, Dank, I need you to make a roll for me. Normal roll.
All right.
Ooh. All right. You want to describe your first memory on your sheet for me?
Sure. He gets like kind of a 1,000-yard stare as he looks back into his memories of yesterday. I remember Operation Neptune Spear. Myself and my squad breaching the perimeter of the compound. We reached the 3rd floor, and there he was, Osama bin Laden. I crouched and lined up the shot. His head was replaced with a red mist. Chunky salsa falling to the floor as my team took down his compatriots in complete silence.
Okay. Make a stress test against violence. There's your... Ooh, I rolled 4 1s on that one. Wow. It's impressive.
Sheet back up for a roll. Is this standard or contested?
Contested. Let's do it as that.
Do I get any bonuses?
If you have any on your sheet that apply to violence rolls.
I don't think I have any covered in that broad of a term.
Yeah, I think it's so it'd be a normal roll, but I think it's just the fact that it's you're forced to relive it that causes the problem most for you. You still beat me, right? Yeah. So I rolled 4 ones. All right. So yeah, it doesn't like get to you. And you snap back to reality, but there's still gravity there, you know. Yeah, he's just sort of looking at you. Now he looks kind of concerned. And he says, this doesn't seem to be working the way it's supposed to.
It's the power of humor. Helps you deal with all kinds of things.
Yeah, he sort of like cocks his head to the side and he says, deal. Huh.
Cope with. Process.
Oh, yeah, he nods and he says, oh, I understand. I was thinking of the kind of dealer that you shoot. And then he pauses, like, huh? That's a good joke. Right?
Hank laughs. Oh, man. Yeah, no, you turned that guy into a nice puddle.
Yeah. And he says, so in all your time in these black projects, these clandestine operations, Dank, you ever heard of us?
I gotta say, the name sounds familiar, but not so much with the symbol. I have a feeling that a lot of different agencies have referred to you guys by a couple of different names. Some friendly, some not so much, depending on, whose side you're on.
Yeah, he says, you're not wrong there. What is your position on the government?
Look at me. I'm living in an alleyway on a couch. I'm a veteran of so many wars, so many operations. And this is how my country treats me. How do you think I feel about the government?
Yeah, he nods and he says, well, the Covenant believes that your country, as you put it, is nothing more than a joke. See, we work for a much higher authority, Dank. And I thought you'd be just the person to become a part of something great like that.
When you say a higher authority, could you elaborate on that?
Higher than all world governments, Dank. You see, the Covenant, we search for information that most governments keep a secret to their people, assuming they could ever fathom the truth, the real truth.
Oh, believe me, I have seen some things that have been covered up in reports, blacked out, and redacted. You know what? Seekers of the truth, I kind of like that. Beholden to no one but themselves. With power to quash any who would dare to stand against them. I like that. I like that a lot. That seems like something I could see myself being a part of.
Yeah, he nods and he says, anyone who stands in our way of the pursuit of knowledge is a threat to us. Understand?
Understood.
Now you're probably wondering to yourself, how are they going to make me prove my loyalty to them? And I gotta tell you, Dank, it's much simpler than that. And he says, so, Are you ready to learn the truth of things?
Sign me up.
He says that there's 2 ways to be inducted. First thing is, he kind of looks around, like suspiciously, like, is anyone watching me? And then he says, we're going to need to get you to, well, see the truth of things before the rest. If we can give you a head start, you might have some chance. And then he pauses. Of surviving, I mean. And he... Go ahead.
My chances of survival are a lot better than most to start with. Getting a leg up doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, he nods, and he says, from what I understand, you're doing better than the others. This is why I placed my bet on you.
Yeah.
He says, so there's 2 ways. One, quick, relatively easy. Only a small chance of... And he kind of, like, shakes his head back and forth. Death. The other way, while it can take a bit more time, it can leave the mind in a very troubled place. Which of these works best for you, do you think?
Well, you know what they say. If something's worth doing, it's never easy.
Oh, I see. So you want the one that doesn't come with a risk of death, then?
Wouldn't they both be risky? There are things significantly worse than death. I've seen men come home from war, beaten, broken.
Yeah, he nods and he says, I've seen countless broken born into this world. Your pain is just beginning. But you see, pain can be such a beautiful thing, Dank.
Yeah.
He sort of like takes a step back from you and he says, just to clarify, quick and easy, or the slow way. It's more likely to work, but could leave you with some damage.
Let's go the slow way.
And he nods, and he takes a step back from you again, and he opens his mouth, and for a minute you think he's about to talk. But his jaw like segments and pulls apart as it starts to like open way wider than a human mouth should. I'm gonna need you to make a stress test. This is against the unknown. Here's your DC.
Jesus. And is this normal, contested, or special?
It'll be contested. It'll just be the normal 3 dice roll unless you have anything that helps you in response to the unknown.
Not yet. Here we go.
Okay.
And there's no way I was going to be a 19 with 3 dice.
Yeah. Okay, so, but you could have gotten, like, better than being doubled. There was the chance of that, but he did double your thing. So you go down 2 steps in the mind track to shaken. Here's what you see. As his mouth, like, opens way wider than a human mouth should, we're talking, like, a foot. Like, it just...
So he just unhinges his jaw.
Like a snake, yeah. And it's disturbing to watch. That's disturbing in itself. But what's worse is what you see emerging from the back of his throat. First, you see this sort of like small spherical shaped black bulb that seems to be like pulling its way up from the back of his throat. It kind of looks like the Venom symbiote from Spider-Man, from the Spider-Man movies, where like there's pieces of it like attaching to the back of his throat, and like other pieces stretch out and grabbing farther ahead as it's like pulling itself forth from his mouth. as this this inky black entity starts to pull itself from inside his jaws. Yeah, and it catches you way off guard. Like you didn't expect this to happen. Maybe we see you like back up and recoil. While shaken, you're gonna have a -1 to all mental related checks.
In
Go.
response to seeing something dramatic like this, Dank would grab his bass guitar and start to strum on it, just like a relaxing kind of like jazz bass line to try to calm down.
Okay, all right, sure. Make a roll with a -1. I'm gonna count it as like a mental check.
Is this one normal?
It'll be with your. Do you have a guitar ability?
I do. So it would
Cancel out.
negate
yeah.
the -1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fail.
Oh.
So
Wow.
you try to calm yourself down. Oh, buddy. I'm sorry.
Broken already.
But you're not broken immediately. But yeah, you're trying to calm yourself down, but it's not working. What you're seeing is too disturbing. Did it show the numbers on your normal roll?
It didn't show them at all. It just auto failed.
Can you try again?
Yeah. There we go. That's weird that it didn't show them.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Are we gonna count that?
No.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna say yeah. You do manage to steal yourself. That's weird. Like if we could see the dice, then I would count it. But
Yeah.
I don't know why it would do that. It's strange. You have more issues with this program than anybody. I think. Like it always breaks when you come around.
I think it's the character. If you watch the video, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either everything's awful or everything's awesome. There is no in between.
All right. So you do manage to kind of like steal yourself as this this small like symbiote looking humanoid entity emerges from this guy's mouth and plops down on the ground beside him. You're still shaken.
Not my couch, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I would have left the stain.
Yeah. And it just sort of stands there, and I think it just kind of like looks around at first. Let me see here. If it does anything too crazy. Okay. No, it just stands. It stands near the guy. The people walking by around you guys, they don't react to this.
You're kind of in an out of the way alley.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And he's like as it finishes coming out of him and sort of like settles beside him. Maybe it like wraps its little arms around his leg, kind of. And he sort of cocks his head to the side and he says, "Well, that didn't quite do it, I don't think." He says,
I gotta say, that's some interesting stuff you got going on there, man. You must be a riot at all-you-can-eat buffets.
He goes, Is this humor?"
Yes, again, trying to cope, my guy.
Cope. That is a useful skill to have, I suppose. But right now we need the opposite of that if this is going to work.
Well, I have to break for this to work.
He grins for the first time. He says, there is an easier way. Let me see if I can fix the Discord cams, guys. Sorry, I just saw that. Let me see if I can see what's causing that. Zack's is working. Dank's is working.
Mine not working?
It's working. Yeah, you're working. I don't know what that was. Like, I just clicked on the Discord window and it was fine. So, I don't know what caused it, but it's working. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Thanks for shouting me out, Wolfie. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Sorry, where was I? What did I just say?
He grinned at me mentioning if I had to break through this to work.
Yeah,
And said there was an easier way.
Yeah. He says there is an easier way.
Breaking me is going to be some tough work. I don't know if you've seen the full files, but man, the things I have seen. This reminds me of that incident back in Nicaragua.
He nods and he says, "To tell you the truth, I'd rather not have you be damaged goods."
Understandable. We'll do it the other way then, if that'll work better.
He nods, and he sort of gestures like with his hand like towards the casino, and he says, "Right this way, Mr. Dank."
All right.
You like take
put the base back into the case, pick it up, and follow the man.
All right. Well, he's letting you go first, but he's like gesturing towards the casino.
All right. As Dank's walking to the casino, he looks back to him and says, what should I call you? I know you're not going to give me your name, because, I mean, this is all very hush-hush, but I got to call you something.
Yeah, you turn back to him. Like, you start to walk towards the casino, and you're like, "Hey, what should I call you?" And you turn back to him, and you see a gun pointed at your face. And he goes, "You can call me Silas." So we're gonna make a contested roll here. Okay, so this is gunshots, so I need to make sure I get this done right. I think with ranged it works slightly different.
And he's point blank in most, tabletop RPGs. That's
Yeah,
but I think it still technically counts as a ranged weapon.
Yeah, and there would be a chance that you could survive like a point blank shot to the head. Like, people have done it.
Not to mention, I mean, combat reflexes ought to kick in.
yeah,
I saw the gun before he shot.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna have him shoot you in the back of the head, but it's fine. So let's see here: violence, weapons, range encounters. When you chuck something or shoot, roll to determine if you hit the target. If your target's moving, you can blah 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 once the attack is confirmed. Okay, so he just rolls to see if he hits you. So he is using a weapon. That's going to give him a bonus. He does have specialty in firearms. That's going to give him another bonus. I'm going to give him 5d4. And if he gets basically a 4 or more than one 4, it's a hit. And then I'll roll a die to see how much it damages you, basically. And there's like a 50-50 chance it kills you if it hits. He rolls no 4s. So what happens? What do you do to cause him to not be able to hit you?
I disarm him, point the gun right back at him, just switch it around, bam.
You gonna shoot him?
I'm not gonna shoot him.
Huh?
I'm not gonna shoot him.
Okay,
I'm not gonna shoot him.
You turn around, you see this gun pointed at your face, and you just like smack it out of the way. Like, you just pop. And the gun goes off, but it's like off to the side when it goes off. So maybe it just like fires like right by the side of your head or something. The people around you guys definitely react to this. They start screaming. There's people like running away. If you're gonna try to take it from him, like to grab it away from him, I think we'll have to do like a contested check, like a physical altercation check.
Was gonna shoot me in the back of the head. Just kind of iffy about trusting him from the jump.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna attempt to disarm him. Yeah.
All right. So it would be like a normal contested roll unless you have anything that would apply as a bonus here. I know you have firearms. I'll let you count that. So you get a +1 for your firearms. If you have anything else that would give you a bonus, it would apply here.
I could write a memory up on the fly. I've got enough memory points.
If you want to, you can. Yeah.
How much is it going to cost me?
Let's see. It depends on how strong the memory is.
I'm going to say in this circumstance, I'd want it to be pretty strong. I've got 5 points.
Yeah, I think with 5 you can get a +3. Let's see here. Oh, those
Yeah,
three.
+3 is 5.
Yeah. So if you want to spend all 5, you can get a +3 to. We can have it be like hand-to-hand combat if you want, or something like that along those lines. The only reason I would say not firearms is because the max you can have is a +3. So if you wanted to add like a +2 to firearms and spend 3 points, I think it is, to get a +2, they would stack and you'd have the max there.
So I just spend 3 points and I get a +2, and that makes me have a +3 total.
To firearms, yeah.
Sweet, yeah, let's do that.
So just put it down as an additional memory in your sheet and put like +2 to firearms. If you have a good idea for what you want the memory to be, you can go ahead and narrate it if you like. If not, we can kind of come back to it later. Give us the general idea. We can kind of come back to it later because we're in the middle of like a combat.
It won't take me long to write this. It would essentially read like, I remember going through the intense hand-to-hand firearms trainings across multiple nations, elites, military academies, removing the gun from the arm and fastened right up in my face and disassembling the weapon.
Okay.
Was a basic part of elite training.
Okay. So once you're ready, you can make a roll. It'll be a contested roll. It'll be +3 to the modifier. too.
Spending memory points gets you an automatic success.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're right. Okay. So it's an automatic success. So you disarm him and you're pointing the gun right back at him. He puts his hands up and he kind of smirks. And he says, "You said the quick and easy way."
I'm sorry. Reflexes. You gotta wake up real early in the morning to get the jump on old Dank.
The small, like, black inkling creature at his feet lunges at you. Like, it starts to growl. It's like, ah, and then it lunges at you. Because it defends its owner. So he's going to roll to attack you. The creature gets 4 dice.
And so this would be contested +3 due to firearms.
Yes. But it's in melee range, so I'm going to say -1 for that. So it'll be 5d4 for you. So +2.
Okay.
And I'll roll for the creature here. Okay. 9. Okay. So yeah, you managed to shoot the creature. And there's like a bunch of this black inky substance that comes out of it and like leaks all over the sidewalk. The man just takes a step back. The creature like howls in pain, like there's and then it like holds at the ink on its body as it starts to like trying to like form back together. Make a special roll with 1 die. See if you kill this thing. No. It goes down 1 body step. Okay. It's only beaten now. Okay. Yeah, you shoot the thing. It doesn't seem to do much to it. And it looks like it's about to keep coming at you. The guy is still standing back with his hands up.
All right, Silas. So, looks like we're off scenario. What are we doing?
He says, I'm sorry. It protects me. It's what it does.
Understandable. Can you call it off? I'd hate to have to kill it.
Yeah, he kind of like, and the creature like, and it like runs back over to him and wraps its arms around his legs and is like holding on to like one of his legs. And he says, "All right, that should do it for now." And I think that's where we end the scene for you. Not bad. Good stuff, man. Way to surprise me. Okay, so we have Zack and Darren left. So here's what I want you guys to do. You're gonna roll a d2, 1 Zack, 2 Darren, and we're gonna take a break as soon as we figure out who our next person is. 2. All right, Darren it is. So when you come back from break here, we're gonna pick up with you, Darren. Yeah, good stuff so far, guys. Just a reminder, there is a giveaway going on the channel right now. So just make sure if you want to enter to win a copy of the game, type the word broken in chat. Just do it once. If you try to do it more than once, it'll make you ineligible. Yeah, see if you can get one of the 3 copies we're going to be giving away. Just make sure you tune in on the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode to see if you won. And if you do win, be ready to send us your shipping info and email, so we can get that to you. All right, we'll see you guys here in a few minutes. Thanks for playing, players. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, I'm back.
The fly, but I'm really.
No, 2. 2 is enough to get +1.
Hey,
Oh, sweet.
How's it going?
It is going.
Are you guys doing okay?
Basic, man.
Yeah, that was good stuff, man. I really enjoyed that scene. Okay, improv. Sometimes it just goes real cool. I don't know. Okay. So, we're gonna be picking up with Darren here. So, we fade in to the inside of like a commercial-looking bathroom. It's sort of empty. It's clean, but it's empty except for a very well-dressed man. I take it. Yes, Wolfie?
Yes.
Who's sort of like standing at the sink, looking into the mirror. Darren, what are you doing?
The little cliche thing with the hands on the counter and just staring into the mirror for a moment.
Okay. Let's see here. Do you want to make a roll for me? Just a normal roll.
Sure.
Ooh.
Oh, fumble.
Okay, let's see here.
Ouch.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you decide. I want you to pick a memory from your sheet to relive, but in a negative way.
All right.
Now, the bonus is not going to be affected. Don't worry about that. It's just
Let's pick. The successful forgery.
All right. Do you want to narrate it, or do you want me to?
The good version or the bad version?
Well, the bad version, I suppose. I guess it should be you.
I guess in this version, I'm standing there for the first time. I'm presenting a picture, or not a picture, a painting that I've done myself as someone else's work, and get completely shut down. Absolutely, they know exactly that it wasn't them, and as I turn to look at it, it's just childish.
It's like Yeah, you turn back around and it's just like crayons, and, like stick figures. No, it's not that bad, right? Or maybe it is. Maybe this version of the memory is like incorrect. Or like more of like a nightmare kind of scenario. So
Sort of stage fright.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna have you roll a stress check. This will be against helplessness, because stage fright makes me think of helplessness. If our options are violence, helplessness, or the unknown.
Okay.
I'm thinking helplessness here. If you have anything that helps you there, it will, but I don't think you do.
I don't think I do at the moment. I would like to go ahead and spend 2 memory points.
Okay, sure. So you're writing a +1 memory. It's gonna be +1 to helplessness.
Yes.
All right. Do you know what the memory is, or you want to come back to it later?
Let me see. I think I can think of one in just a moment.
Sure. Take a second. So yeah, maybe in the bathroom there's like a speaker on, and that's where we hear the like the static noise in the radio broadcast from
Okay.
the start of the session. Yeah, and just whenever you're ready, go for it.
All right. I think it's just going to be a memory of basically running an auction myself. No, an auction, air quotes. Not a real one, but one for the mark.
Okay.
And basically being up on stage and basically having everybody eat out of the palm of my hands.
Yeah. All right. Well, feel free to add that to your sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and put +1 to helplessness here for you, and you can put the text in there whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's time for that contested check. Wait,
Success.
you wrote a memory, so it's automatic success. Okay. So yeah, you relive this memory, but it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't bring you down in your mind track. It doesn't stress you out too much. I mean, you're a confidence man, and you have your confidence in check right now. So yeah, maybe you're ready to straighten out your tie and get back out there, huh?
Yeah. Take a big deep breath and turn around to head out of the bathroom and go do what I do best.
All right. So we see you head out of the bathroom. And you walk across like a little hall or whatever, and then you open up these like double doors and you walk into a room where there's a bunch of people, and there's a stage. And up on the stage, we see a man speaking into a microphone. He's gesturing to the people in the crowd, and he's got a bunch of fine art pieces around him. One of the pieces we see, a lot of you guys might recognize, it's a very famous piece. It's Van Gogh's Starry Night.
Ooh.
It's a Van Gogh painting, right? Well, I think
Oh, yeah.
okay. I'm making sure. Okay. And let's see if this sounder works. So we can kind of hear like the soft sound of people in the crowd talking. The man up on stage is kind of talking into like a poorly run microphone. And here's what he says. Up next, we've got a beautiful piece from a local seller. This piece, now I know what you guys are thinking. Wasn't this painting stolen recently? I can understand the concern, I'm sure, but not to worry. Here to explain all of that is the seller of this fine piece, millionaire, philanthropist, Mr. Darren Stark. And he sort of like gestures over to the side of the room, where we see you like standing there. People start clapping, applauding. And he makes a face like, "Come on, get up here."
Yeah, I'll go on up.
Yeah. So you walk up to the stage, and he hands the microphone over to you. He leans in and he whispers, just say a couple words to put them at ease. And then he walks off the stage. Do you have any kind of nervousness about public speaking?
No, he's done it quite a few times.
All right, yeah, makes sense. All right, go for it.
Well, hello. Glad to be up here. As you can see, the piece speaks for itself to most degrees, but we do have a little information about how it was came to be in our possession. It was donated by someone who wishes to remain anonymous. They hope that the heat that would be gained from turning it over is less than they would get from actually sending it back to where it was first located.
Okay, yeah. There's a man's voice that comes from the crowd, and he says, "Oh, where was that? Your printer?"
Oh, goodness. Well, if I had a printer that could print something like this, I would be making a lot more money.
Yeah, probably about $100 million, right? And there's like a light that sort of finds its way to this guy, and you get a look at him. It looks something like this. Yeah, he's like basically like heckling you now.
Well, sir, I have to say I have no idea what you're talking about.
He stands
And
up.
I use an influence point to make this man slur his words.
You
Oh my God.
You want to do like an Evan Almighty thing?
I want this man to be like just apparently drunk to the audience.
That is so amazing.
Sure.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Can I add one to have a waiter come by and, spill something on him?
Yeah. Okay, sure. So he goes to stand up, but he bumps into a waiter who's walking by, and like they knock a wine glass over and it spills all over him. The lady at the table next to him, like, she like gasps and stands up, and like causes a bit of a scene for a second or two. And then this guy's like, "Oh, look, see, I know Van Gogh, and
Sir, that looks. Your jacket looks expensive. You'd probably you best get something to get that out of there before it sets."
Well, there's nothing wrong with this.
We gotta have him slurp it off the jacket.
You gonna spend another point to do that?
Yes. He just drinks it from the jacket.
I'll allow it. We're kind of. I'll allow it. So yeah. He grabs hold of two pieces of it, like holds it up to his mouth, and like rings it while he's got his mouth on it, and he says, "It still tastes fine."
Could we get somebody to take? It says this is an aside to like security.
Yeah. There are you're like motioning to security. They're already on their way over there. And he's like, "Hey, don't put your hands on me, guys. I'm just trying to tell you this is a fake. He's hustling you." And the security guard's like, "Come on, sir, get out of here. It's time to leave. You've had enough." And the guy's like, "Hey, I'm a nice guy. I'm just trying to get. Hey, don't touch me. I can walk. What's wrong with you?" And they end up like ushering him out eventually. Yeah, good job. You got rid of this guy.
Oh, I'm so sorry, folks. That was a unforeseen interruption. We should probably just get back to the auction, right?
Yeah, like a bunch of people start clapping. The guy comes back up on stage, and he holds his hand out for the microphone. Do you hand it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he takes the microphone and he's like, "Well, that certainly was
Interesting. Hopefully that puts you guys all at ease. Okay, so we're gonna open the bidding at
And he looks over at you, like, and he mouths the word 80.
I flash a 5 twice for 10.
So, well, he was saying 80 million.
Mm-hmm.
Is you're gonna say 10, like 100 million, like 10 million?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to open it at 100 million? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna open the bidding at 100 million. This piece is worth at least that much. So that's where it's gonna start. Do we have any takers?
And yeah, like a few. There's like one person that raises their paddle, and the guy's like, "Oh, okay, 100 million. All right. There's our opening bid. Any? Who's next? Who has 110? Make a roll.
Okay.
Maybe fast talking would apply here. I'm gonna say like your little speech might have helped you out.
Okay.
Ooh.
Dang.
All right, let's take a look at your memory sheet, my dude. Let's do your first memory, but it's in a negative way.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going up to a museum with my last few dollars that I managed to scrounge together to try and get in and see things as a kid. There's a discount going on that day for college students, but I of course am not. So when they ask for an ID, I try to see if I can't sneak in with a group of college students that are passing by, and they just laugh me off.
Okay. All right. So let's give you a stress test. I think it's helplessness again.
Ah, so +1 at least.
All right. So here's my roll, and then yours will be contested +1, so it should give you 4. Oh, I rolled 2 force. So you should have a 9. Okay. So you go down.
I'll spend an influence to re-roll one of those.
Okay, sure. Which you're rolling the 1, obviously, right? Okay. You keep the rest?
For now.
Okay. You turn the 1 into a 4. So that raises it by 3.
13.
It would raise it.
Oh, no, not 13. Brain.
Yeah, it'd make it 12.
Yeah, 12.
Which means it's matched. Ooh, that's interesting. I know when you're matching combat, it's like you lock horns, but I don't know what happens when you match in the mind track. I might have to look and see. I'm going to say for now, you don't go down a mind step.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know if it even says that. Like what it says in the book here. Yeah, I think you're just good. I think it's basically a success.
Whew, by the skin of my teeth.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, we see you have like a flashback to this memory. And then we cut back and there's people in the crowd that are bidding. So like one person bids 110, one person bids 120. It kind of goes back and forth for a minute. Until they end up settling at, I'm gonna say 150. And then there's like, all right, do we have any more for?
Do we have any more? We're at 150. Any for 155, 160? And there's like silence. Going once, going twice. Sold.
And he's like, sold to the gentleman in the gray hair for $150 million. And you look out into the crowd, and the guy who won is back, and he's wearing a different jacket.
Ah, I see.
And he steps up thing, and he's got a white jacket on now. Before it was like a black suit jacket, same shirt. He steps up and he waves and he kind of like takes a bow. And the guy on the stage is like, "Thank you, sir. We'll meet with you after the auction to settle the 150 payment of $150 million or whatever." And the guy like whispers something into his ear, and then the guy on the stage points at you, and then you see the guy start walking over towards you. He's got a smile on his face.
Okay. I'd like to grab a glass of wine from a waiter.
Okay, all right, yeah. There's like a waiter walking by with like one of those trays, with, like a bunch of different wine on it, and you just grab one off the
The red, please.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure. So you're standing there with this wine. This guy comes walking up to you and he says,
Before, when he is walking up to me, I'd like to start walking towards him as well.
Okay.
And bump into somebody and spill my glass on myself.
Okay, all right, yeah. Make a roll to see if you can play it off like an accident. If you got something you think might apply here for a bonus, I'll let it apply.
Let's see. Nonverbal communication.
I'll allow it, sure.
Success.
All right. Cool. So yeah, you bump into somebody, you spill it on yourself, and this woman that you bump into, she turns around, she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. How terrible. I'll see if I can get someone to clean it up for you. I'll be right back."
It's fine. I need to get out of here anyways. You have a good time.
Oh, she says, "Oh, you too, sir. Thank you. And congrats on the sale of the beautiful piece. Beautiful piece."
Oh, thank you. I just hope it goes to a good home.
Yeah. She nods. So you just like make a break for the door?
Yeah, I'll do the universal like call me hand sign and make a break for it.
Yeah. Okay. The guy like nods and kind of grins, and we see you like reach the door and go through. Where are you going?
Well, I'd like to take off my disguise and head to my car.
Okay, sure, yeah. So we see you. Are you just like taking it off as you're walking down the hallway? So you're like pulling this tie off and like
quick dip into the bathroom and then out we go.
Sure. Okay. So you run to the bathroom, make a roll. Do you have anything that might apply to disguisery, like or quickness? Like
I don't think so. Let me check. Attention to detail?
Sure. Maybe it's like a tearaway suit or something.
Right. A success.
Right. Success, yes. So you get in there, you get your outfit changed, and you're heading back out. Let's see if any of your memories would apply to have a cool little positive flashback here. There's only one we haven't done, right? The last one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do that as you like enter the bathroom? We see you like changing quickly. Maybe you have this flashback.
Just kind of remembering why exactly he's doing this one last job. He remembers back to the time where he first met his nephew, which was a little bit after he was born. Wasn't quite able to make it to the hospital, kind of be with them there, but was able to do so afterwards. His sister and her husband were very much happy that he was able to come in and take him off their hands for a few minutes so that they could take a nap. And it turns out running cons kind of prepares you for dealing with things that have no idea what they want but are very picky about it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, so we see you coming out of the bathroom with a different outfit on. The hallways are still empty. There's still a couple auctions left going on. You seem to have sort of lost the guy for now. Maybe he looked like he was trying to catch up with you, but he got pulled away by the crowd. And we see you like exit the building and you start to get into your car. What kind of car do you drive?
A fancy electric kind.
Fancy electric kind. So like a Tesla maybe or something?
Not quite a Tesla. I don't think he respects Elon Musk as a bullshitter as much as he is, but not so much to give him money.
Okay. Yeah, that guy I heard today that he's like on the board of Twitter now. Or something.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so yeah, so you get into your fancy electric car. Make a roll. Do you have anything that might apply to like perception?
Intuition?
Okay, +1. It'll be contested though.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here. You get into your car, and everything's nice and quiet. You got out of there. You know they're going to handle the sale for you. It's going to be in your bank account probably in the next day or two. And you just like breathe a sigh of relief. And you stick the key in the ignition or whatever. You start the car. Push the button. I don't know how it works with electric cars. some of them now you just have a button you can push and it starts.
From what I've been told, they're like keyless cars.
Oh, okay.
Usually, yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. See, that's why I was like, I don't know, maybe it's not like that. All right. And then springing up from the back seat, you see a guy in a white jacket as he leans up from behind you. And he's smiling and he says, "Well, that was a pretty good show, wasn't it?"
Well, I guess so. Might I ask what you're doing in my car?
Oh, it's nice. I liked it. I figured, least you could do is take me for a ride. I just gave you $150 million.
Sorry, I don't work for Uber.
Yeah, he kind of chuckles and he says, gotta love that sense of humor. Hey, tell me, this isn't your first successful forgery, right? You've clearly got some experience.
Clearly, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just selling a painting.
Right. So, let me ask you this. What do you plan to do with the money?
Well, at this point in my career, retire.
Retire? Is that a joke?
Now, why would I joke at a time like this?
People like us don't retire. There's always the next job, the next score. And then he kind of grins and giggles a little bit. And he says, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Oh, that's funny. You see, I'm usually the one pulling people back in.
Yeah, he kind of chuckles. And he says, right. So, tell me, you remember the dream, right?
Which one?
The one where you saw the dealer at the table be shot.
Oh, that one. I see.
I didn't have you make a stress test against violence. I was supposed to do that, so you're gonna have to make it now.
All right, I'd like to automatically fail.
Oh, okay. By how much?
Just by 1.
Okay. So write the negative. Put on your sheet. You can write the memory later because we know what the memory is. But put -1 response to violence.
Got it.
Okay. You go down 1 mind step. Have you lost 1 at all yet?
No.
Okay, so this just puts you to stressed. Okay. So what did you say about remembering the shooting?
I said, yes. How do you?
And he smiles. He says, "Well, I was there, obviously."
Not in my dream, of course.
Well, it wasn't a dream, you see.
Are you quite sure you're okay?
Are you sure you're okay?
A little stressed out here, but otherwise fine.
Think about it. If we both remember it happening, sitting at the table, dealing the cards out, winning, losing, the strange people around us. We both remember the crazy bald man with the glasses come running up to the table and shooting the dealer several times. It's funny. The one thing that got me, I really thought it was the best part personally, was the concern over the comped room. That was the thing. The first thing you went to after seeing a man be shot was, oh no, is this going to affect my comped room? What's the deal with that?
Huh. You are a scarily good fortune teller. I've worked with a few, you know. I mean, it's all cold reading. I didn't know I had those tells, though. You'll have to tell me what it is.
He grins. He says, well, you're not so bad yourself, I suppose.
So is the little act over? Are we done here?
He says, you're not curious? Not even in the slightest.
Trust me, I've seen people pull memories out of people much more interesting than me.
All right, well, suit yourself. And he gets out of the car. And he says, you know that 150 mil, I might default. I may have used an alias, but best of luck to you. And he starts to walk away.
Where does he walk?
He make a roll. Make a roll. Actually, we'll do a stress check against the unknown. If you have anything that might apply to that.
Don't think I do. Just a normal?
Be contested roll. Normal.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Critical success rule of 3s.
Yeah, 8.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Where are you going once you leave here?
It entirely depended on where he was going, because I was going to run him over.
Oh. Well, he starts to walk away, and he just sort of vanishes. Like it's almost like a cheesy 90s movie with ghosts where he's like becoming more and more translucent the further he gets away from you, until he's just not there. You go down one mind step that puts you to shaken. That gives you a -1 to all mental checks. The car wasn't moving, right? Like you had just started it. I was assuming you were still.
Yeah, I'd not moved at all.
Okay. So yeah, you're shaken. How do you react? How do we see that this is shaking you a little bit?
At that, he's confused, so I get out of the car.
Yeah, you're just like looking around.
Yeah, I go to where he disappeared and like, what in the world?
Okay. Make a normal roll. This would be like another perception. Perception-y roll.
I don't guess I could use intuition with this.
No, I kind of feel like intuition's more like reading people.
Yeah, I figured.
Major failure.
Oh my god.
Okay. So you're standing there, you're like looking around, you walk around the car, like how did he do this? This guy's like, he's like David Blaine or something. And you feel a tap on your shoulder. And you turn around and he's just standing there smiling.
I punch him.
Okay, all right. Okay, contested roll for physical. I don't think you have anything for this, right? So just be 3 dice.
Yeah.
All right. You both rolled a 6. That's so interesting. Okay. So we see you like rear back to punch him, and then you guys end up like he like swipes at your hand and tries to like tackle you to the ground, but you guys both just end up grappling and going back and forth for a minute. And we can re-roll if you're gonna keep trying to like fight this guy. But you're basically tied, so you're locked in combat. Like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will continue.
All right.
Knee him in the groin.
No, I was thinking about headbutting him.
If you're not used to headbutting people, bad idea.
Well, my forehead to his nose.
Yeah. Well, he
Are
rolled.
you? How tall are you?
Like 5'10".
Might be
Just
short.
remember, if
Man.
you
You
do
could
it in
just
a
like
forced motion,
hit
it's
his
less than
nose.
2 psi to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
no!
that was a yeah.
no.
This time he gets the upper hand on you,
Yeah.
right? So you guys were like grappling, and yeah.
Oh, wait, you did normal, not contested.
It would have
It's
been
the
same.
safest counts it up. So
Yeah. So it would be a total of 4 versus
Yeah.
7. So and then he pushes you back away from him. You take a swing and he ducks, and then he comes up with the perfect uppercut, just catches you right below the chin. And we see your head like fling up really fast, and you fall down to the ground. And then he's just sort of standing there. We cut to you like laying on the ground. You got like blood dripping down your mouth, out of your lip or whatever. And then he kind of laughs. He goes, "Ha, see, not so great a fighter." And he holds out a hand to like help you up. You're now beaten. You go down one body step.
Well, yeah, that's not exactly what I'm used to.
Yeah, he nods. He goes, "Bet you don't usually lose your cool like that, do you? But you decided to swing on the wrong guy, I suppose."
Get shit.
It was going okay there. And then you did a cheap shot.
He shrugs and he says, "Oh, come on! Like you wouldn't have taken a cheap shot."
Oh, of course I would. I'm just telling you.
Well, then you can't blame me.
Oh, of course I can. I didn't take a cheap shot, so it doesn't count.
He goes, "Are you gonna be grumpy about it, or are you gonna let me help you up?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I take your hand, you're just gonna attack me again.
I'm not here to attack you, silly.
No, you're here to just vanish in the middle of nowhere.
I'm trying to help you.
Really? So you would say, trying to call me on the painting while I was in there was help?
Why does that bother you so much?
Because it was a very lucrative sale.
But it doesn't matter if you sell it or not.
Of course it does. Why wouldn't it matter?
He shakes his head. Look, none of this is real. None of it.
None of what?
This. He like gestures around at like everything. He like spins around holding his hands out. And he says, "Look, how do you not get this? The vanishing thing? Come on, who can do that?"
I mean, I could name a few magicians if you'd like, but... Okay, here. Let's just say, for now, that I believe you. What exactly are you trying to help me with?
Well, it's simple. I just want you to wake up. And when he says that, make a stress check against the unknown.
Okay.
Oh. There's a 1 in there, though. Oh, he doubles you. So you go down 2. Does that put you...
I'd like to make you re-roll a 4.
You want me to re-roll one of those 4s? All right.
Yeah.
All right, you spend your influence points. Oh my god! I just rolled another 4!
You spend an influence point to make you re-roll.
You gonna make me re-roll it again? Okay, all right.
Yes.
Alright. A 1. Okay, so
there we go.
That would make it
At
5,
least doesn't double
6,
me.
9. Okay, yeah, it doesn't double you. So you just go down 1 mind step. That puts you to...
Broken.
Broken, okay.
Unless we were counting me getting out of the car at the end of the scene, but I don't think so.
No, this is all the same scene. So let's figure out what your symptom is. Broken states. All right.
Special roll.
Special roll 2 dice, please. 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, buddy. This is so fitting given the situation. Hallucinations. Write this in the revelation part of your page. And here's what it says. Whenever you spend an influence point to add something to a scene, aka like right now, make a special roll with 1 die. On a result of a 1 or 2, the added elements are an illusion, which your character sees as real. For every increment of this symptom, increase by 1 the results needed to get the illusion. All right.
Now, I haven't added anything into this particular one.
Yeah, that's true. You just made me re-roll. So, yeah, that's fine. But you have hallucinations. Congrats. Okay. Interesting. So he says, wake up. And there's something that is, it just rings true. You hear something. You get like an audio hallucination. And what you hear, it sounds like, make a normal roll. Just make a normal, plain old B flat roll.
Is it mental?
It is mental. So yeah, you'd have a -1. Fail. It's hard to tell what it is exactly. It kind of sounds like a muffled low rumbling. It's familiar, but you can't quite place it. And it's kind of like hearing the sound of your own blood circulating through your ears, when it's really quiet, maybe at night. It's kind of like that. But it's like, oh, I just realized I hear this, but it's always been there. It's kind of the feeling you get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little disturbing.
Okay. Does he still have his? Oh, sorry. Does he still have his hand out?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll kind of, as I'm reeling and kind of getting this information, kind of automatically reach to be helped up.
Yeah, he grabs her and he pulls at your feet.
With that contact, can I roll for connection?
Yes, you can. Yeah, good stuff. Definitely do that. Now, tell us mechanically what this does, so I don't have to take time up by looking it up.
No problem. So when I am in contact with somebody, I can roll my special dice to have the chance to have a connection with the target. And basically, once that happens, I then start forming memories as them rather than myself for the duration of whatever rolls I make.
You also know their name immediately.
Right.
I think it says if you didn't know their name, you now do. I think it says something like that. Okay. So you have to roll for a success on that?
Yes.
Okay, so make that roll.
Reroll the 1.
Okay, reroll the 1. Oh my gosh, is that a failure?
No, because that's still a 2 and a 1, but it's not a success either.
Is that just how many memories you get to?
I think I have to roll a success to have any. Let me make sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'll go ahead and spend another influence to reroll that 1 again.
Okay. Two and a 3?
Yeah, 2 and a 3. Still not a success.
Do you have any more influence points?
I have 1 more.
It fails, you could borrow one of mine. I've got 7 left still.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll reroll that 2 then.
Okay. All right.
The dice hate me.
So you're trying to
Oh, I was gonna ask if I could borrow the.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here's the thing, though. It says in the book that other players can't cause other players to make them reroll.
Ah,
I can only affect the DMs.
Right.
Sad.
Exactly.
Bummer.
So close, but no cigar. So here's what happens. You somehow get the feeling, maybe it's this guy's presence, but you just sort of innately know you can do this thing. And you reach out and you try to form that connection. You feel a familiar sort of bond there. And you can sort of sense that there's something he's doing that's not letting you form that connection.
Right.
And then he grins and he goes, huh, spoilers. And he starts to like dust off your suit from you being on the ground. He's like, oh, come on, you gotta get this dirt off of there. You're supposed to be, or I guess you're not wearing this suit anymore, your outfit. You're supposed to be at least presentable. But you're all covered in dirt and gravel now. You just had to have a scuffle, huh?
I think he's just looking at his hand like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. And he stops for a second and he looks at you and he goes, wait, don't tell me. That was the first time you tried that?
Tried what?
Well, you don't even know what you did, do you?
No, no idea.
Huh. Well, you tried to form a connection with me, which is a little odd. I gotta admit, look, you're a great looking guy. But, maybe next time ask for permission before you. It's like like I know, like look, I'm not against somebody coming in and trying to like sweep me off my feet or whatever, but could at least.
Oh, please, you're not my type.
Yeah, he kind of chuckles and he says, "You have no idea how wrong you are about that." And then he says, "Well, here's the thing. We both have similar abilities, let's say. And in a place like this that's not real, it's not real. In a place like this, it's not real. We're like gods, really. We can do anything here."
You make it really hard to think you're not insane.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're just seeing something in me that you don't like about yourself. Look, I'll prove it. And he points like to an empty corner of the parking lot. And your car. Well, I guess I'll make him make a roll. We'll see.
It's really funny if nothing
There's a
happens.
chance it doesn't work, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah.
He got a 4. That's all he needs. Your car starts to roll across the parking lot. Like it's like you hear the sound of bending and scraping metal, and like the glass breaks as it rolls over, and it just starts to tumble over and over across the parking lot until he stops holding his hand up, and then it stops. He goes, "Look, see? Like I said, basically gods."
Full coverage insurance.
He literally puts his hand up to his face. I really wish if you could do something interesting that does not have some sort of natural explanation, because wires are a thing.
Okay, all right. Make a stress test against the unknown, but it'll give you a +1 because you're just not buying anything this guy's selling. And here's the roll. 9.
10.
All right, you beat it. It just doesn't phase you. And he's like, "Really? That doesn't do it? Come on, man. I thought you're..." All right. Well,
Look, if you're actually doing things, just do something weird.
how weird?
As weird as you can get.
Fair enough.
Famous last words.
And he's through.
They might be.
He holds his hands out to the side and he closes his eyes. And you watch as Darren, have you ever done hallucinogens?
Probably one time back in college.
Yeah, like okay. So this kind of reminds you of that because his face and body start to melt and sort of drip down to the ground. And they sort of like form this sentient puddle that grows eyes and mouths. And the mouths start to scream out at you. And they're like screaming. They're screaming. You're hearing your name. You're hearing the name Ginny. I don't remember your mother's name. But you're hearing all these names of people you know. Make a stress test against the unknown.
All right, and I'll spend another 2 points.
To do.
Make a memory.
Well, wait. I think can you do that on a stress test? Because I think it's supposed to be a contested roll.
I think you can do it with anyone. Let me check.
Yeah, I'll check.
You can do it at just about any time, according to the player's handbook.
Yeah, you might be right.
Oh, no, you're wrong. It is not. Well, no, there's not during special rolls. Either normal or contested.
Okay, so it's a contested. Okay, so this, yeah, you can do it then. So you're gonna spend 2 points to make it a success.
Yes.
All right.
And get a memory of the unknown, which I assume would just be this, since I don't think I've had this experience before.
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you +1. The memory will be +1 response to the unknown. And it's a success. And so there's just like this weird amorphous puddle of eyes and mouths. They're like calling out your name and the names of your family. And this goes on for like 10 to 15, 30 seconds. And then it slowly coalesces back into the same man. He's standing in front of you. And now he looks kind of annoyed. And he goes, come on.
Oh, before he does.
Yeah.
As he's kind of reforming. Darren goes, now that is weird enough. Okay, how do I do this waking up thing?
He goes, wait, so it didn't seem to faze you, though.
I've done mushrooms, it's fine.
Well, how do you know you're not on mushrooms now?
Well, if I am, there's nothing wrong with going with the hallucination unless it tells you to jump into an empty pool.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I could have spiked your wine or something. All right. Well, if you want to get on board, you're not going to like it. You're really not going to like it.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. He points out to the road, and there's like traffic and cars going by. And he goes, just step in front of a bus or something.
And that'll wake me up.
Yeah, it's like a dream. You know how like when you pinch yourself in a dream, or if you fall off like a high mountain, you wake up right before you hit the ground, right? It's like that.
All right. Could we do that a little easier?
That's the easy way. Trust me.
Oh, no, I meant I just would rather not have to like run in front of traffic. That seems like dangerousness.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. Got to give your system a real shock. You know what I mean? The other way is I make you go insane, but you don't seem to be taken to that too well.
I don't know whether to take that for a compliment or an insult.
Well, you don't want to do that because it could have some permanent effects. I mean, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Like, dying is not going to have permanent effects, but trust me on this one. I've been right where you are right now. You're just on the edge. And plus,
well, in for a penny, in for a pound, runs into traffic.
Okay, all right. So you like take off running, and we cut to like a guy driving his car, and he has like an old beat up like station wagon. He's like eating some chips while he's driving. He's got one hand on the wheel. He's barely paying attention. And then we see him like look in the back seat, and we see like a 6-pack of beer. And he like reaches, he takes his eyes off the road. And he like reaches in the back seat to grab the beer, and the steering wheel is kind of bouncing back and forth. And then when he comes back up and looks at the road, he's like, "Ah!" And he slams on the brakes, and we hear, "Arr!" And then, "Doo, doo." And we cut to black. That's how your scene ends. Good job. Good job.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got one person left here. Are you ready, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see here. Copy. All right. So we fade back in. We get that repeat of the dream sequence. We hear the radio address again, and we fade into the inside of it's like a lounge, like a casino lounge or like a VIP area. We see like some nice couches and tables. There's some beautiful paintings on the wall. Like one of the paintings is like this really abstract looking like blue like fungus kind of like growing in darkness. And of course there's like typical stuff you'd find in a Vegas casino, like pinups and stuff like that. But it's a really high end place, really swanky. And it's like a VIP area that's separated from the rest of the club. So we get like this, like there's just a glass railing that kind of looks down on like if there's people dancing. It's slow right now because it's like morning. But we see two men. There's one bald man with sunglasses and a cigar. He's sitting on the couch as the camera like pans across the window. Maybe we see some of that early morning light cutting in. We cut across to another guy, big bearded, muscly guy. He's wearing like a wife beater, like a black wife beater tank top. Sorry if that offended you. And he's like sharpening a knife. And then the camera pans over, and we see a man unconscious, tied to a chair. Zach, do you want to describe your character, please?
Sure. I am absolutely beat to shit. There's massive black eye happening. I'm like you said, unconscious, just in a chair, tied up. I have somewhat of a tuxedo going on. Like the bow tie's like completely ruined. The top button's all messed up. There's blood all over it. Yeah, I'm just beat.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to already be beaten?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh boy. Oh man. I'm looking at your memory sheet and I'm like, this stuff's not filled in.
No.
Am I looking at the wrong page?
Did I fill it in on the wrong spot?
Oh, it's just that they don't have bonuses on them,
Oh,
I guess.
I have one.
Yeah, let me fix this really quick.
Yeah.
And okay, does that look good for you?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we see you like laying or beaten up. There's like swollen cuts and stuff in this chair. And the guy with the cigar, he says, "All right, wake him up. We're gonna get our money by the end of the day." And the guy that's like sharpening the knife, he puts the blade down on the table, and he kind of like, and he walks slowly over to the chair, and he rears a hand back. Delivers you a fine smack across the face.
What the fuck?
Zach, make a stress check against violence for the dream you just had. I believe it was 4d4.
Okay. Um. Yeah, sure.
What? There's no way it can be a 0, right?
Hmm?
You want to try again? What is it? Just normal roll? Isn't it just normal roll?
Is it just a normal roll? Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Okay, it still fail.
there we go.
Weird.
Well, it'd be a contested, but it's fine. Like I don't know, it did that thing it did at Dank where it just didn't roll anything, and it just
Yeah.
said 0. All right, so you
Weird.
get 3, 3, 2, so that would be 6, 8. All right. So go down 1 mind step to stressed. As you come to from this dream. You remember what happened now. These guys were beating on you, trying to get their money, and he hit you too hard, and you passed out for a little bit.
All right.
And so, yeah, you come to, you're like, what the shit, what the hell? And, Tony, like, pulls a cigar out of his mouth. He just, like, ashes it on the floor. And he says, all right, look, Zack, you're going to give us our cash, you understand? No more games. You've had weeks to get this sorted. Where's the money?
It's I don't have it right now. Can I have like maybe a week more?
A week?
I can come up with the money, Tony. I promise.
He looks at the big burly guy. He says, "This guy wants another week. We've given him 3 weeks already. It was supposed to be due after the first week, Zack.
My luck is just not on my side right now.
Luck's never on your side."
Obviously.
Well, he looks at the other guy. "What should we do?" And the big guy shrugs and he goes, "We could kill him." And Tony goes, just a mess to clean up. Dead men don't pay their debts.
Don't get me wrong. I love you, kid.
The guy
It's something else.
the guy shrugs and he says, "I tell you what, how about you got to the end of the day, or we go pay that cute redheaded girl we seen you with. We go pay her a visit."
No. I just okay. End of the day, I can get you the money.
"Oh, really? You sure about that?"
I could try.
"You can try. I might need better than trying, Zack."
I'll get you the money.
He like looks at you expectantly. "I'll get you the money
Tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, you better have it tonight then." And he stands up, like ashes a cigar on the floor again, takes another drag off of it, and he says, "Well, just in case he forgets, why don't you give him something to remember us by?" And the guy nods. He takes the knife. He comes over to you. And he takes the blade of the knife. He holds your hand out, like your hand's kind of like tied to the arms of this chair. He makes you straighten your finger. You're like fighting him, like no. And he like takes the blade of the knife and he slides it up under your fingernail.
Oh.
And then he like looks you dead in the eye. And then he pushes really hard on the blade. So this will be a contested check, but you're gonna have a -2 because you're tied to a chair and you can't really do anything about it. So 2 6. He more than doubled you. You're already at beaten, right?
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay, so that means you go down 2 to dead. So here's what happens. He drives the knife into your finger, into the tip of your finger. Then he makes this face like, "Oh, I didn't mean to push that hard." And then there's just blood that comes spurting out. A lot of blood. You start to feel dizzy. Everything starts to get a little bit darker and hazier. You feel kind of cold. And he backs up and he's like, "What do you want me to do, boss?" And Tony's like, "Just get something to clean this up, will ya?" As everything kind of fades to black. I think that's where we end tonight's session.
Good. Sick.
Well, we've got one person alive.
Yeah.
Well, actually, 2 people alive, but one's in somewhere else.
Yeah.
Half the crew's dead.
So that was interesting. I didn't expect things to go downhill for you guys quite so fast with some of you guys. So that's cool. If you died today, make sure you re-roll a character for next week. And yeah, I mean, better luck next time. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see what happens next session. Quick reminder, we're doing a giveaway for the Nibiru TTRPG. We're just getting things started here. So if you guys are having fun, if you're liking the show, make sure, if you want to win a copy of this, you can play it yourself. To enter the word broken in the Twitch chat, make sure you're following. Only enter it one time. And when we do the drawing, you'll be entered in it. So we're going to do the first giveaway on episode 4. We're going to do the second giveaway on episode 5 and the last giveaway on episode 6. And big thanks to Arcana Media and Federico Assons for basically sponsoring this. I mean, basically they were like, yeah, let's give away a couple copies of the game. Let's get it in the hands of more people. It's a really cool game. And if you want to check it out, make sure you do that. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see links down in the description for things like people's art, any like virtual avatars used on the show, that kind of stuff. So if you want to check that stuff out, definitely do. These guys, some of these guys do things, right? Like I know Team Zack, he's got a Twitch channel. So go check it out. I think it's twitch.tv/Team Zack. Is that right?
Yeah.
So go check out his stuff. Maybe over on his Twitch channel, he's not getting stabbed in the finger so much and bleeding out. I don't know. Maybe he has a weird Twitch channel. I don't know.
I usually do that every Thursday.
Oh, okay.
At around like 5-ish, 7-ish.
All right, makes sense.
Depends on the mood.
Yeah. Does anybody else got anything they want to shout out? Is there anything I missed?
Don't think so.
Don't think so. All right. How are you guys feeling about tonight's session? Was it sufficiently weird?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot weirder
That's
than
one
our.
way to put it.
It's a lot weirder than our practice session, right? Oh, I got Dank. I can't hear you for some reason. Sorry, I fixed it. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it was me.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting so many of the other characters to die off.
Oh yeah, yeah, good.
Like, I know this is a high mortality game, but man.
yeah. So I'll catch up with you guys like once we turn the stream off. I'll kind of get you guys prepped for next week. Some of you guys might have to reroll characters. We'll talk about it here in just a second. The rest of you guys watching, yeah, it's a weird game. Just tune in next week to see what happens. Yeah, this is fun. So we're almost there. We're almost through the breaking point, as I like to call it. So good show tonight. Good show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for playing, players. Thanks for watching, watchers. We had like quite a few people in tonight for our small little channel. So big thank you. Make sure you guys hit the follow button. Come back and check us out for more stuff. Monday nights we typically do Force of Flesh D&D 5e. It's sort of like a Lovecraftian survival horror D&D game. Last week, or this week, yesterday, they fought the God of Death. So that was interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of high stakes stuff like that going on in that game. Make sure to check it out. Also, every other Friday, we do Unknown New Orleans on the channel, and that's by A Wise Man Once. You can check him out on twitch.tv/awiseman once. Great DM. All those people do cool stuff. And he also has a YouTube channel called Wise Man Archives and a Twitter page called Wise Man Roleplay. Those are all super cool people, so go check them out. And he does his own other shows on his channel as well. All right. Anybody else got anything? We're gonna wrap it up.
I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you back here next week, same time. Take care, folks.